Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Grand Rapids Community College Sports Network as we get set for another conference matchup here as tonight it's the GRCC Raiders welcoming the North Central Michigan College Timberwolves here on this homecoming weekend, or homecoming week, rather, here on the campus of Grand Rapids Community College. Jackson Hayden with you. Pleasure to bring you another edition of this Raiders volleyball team here tonight. The Raiders come in ranked 15th here in the country, 8-2 overall, and 5-0 in conference play, as well as on a 6-game winning streak. They have not lost a match since August 23rd. For North Central Michigan College, they come in as probably the team that the Raiders are going to have to worry about the most here entering this season. The Timberwolves enter 11-4 overall, 3-1 in conference play, and have done pretty well up to that point. Their lone loss was to Muskegon Community College, which came last Monday up at home. Now for NCMC, they are a young program. They are in their 5th season overall and are really building something. They have improved drastically each year, and this is going to be a good match here tonight. The Raiders have not let up a set since, well, you got to go back to the second home game of the year, as the Raiders will take their first lead of the evening, and it's 1-0 against the Timberwolves. But if you can think back to that Delta College match, back to on September 15th, which feels like forever ago, that was the last time they had given up a match loss, or a set loss, excuse me. But other than that, the Raiders have played some dominant volleyball over the last few weeks, especially their last road trip. Went up north over the weekend, swept all 3 matches as they try to dial it in. And it's a little overshot, and the Timberwolves will take their first lead of the night. Taking a look at some of the starting lineups for tonight. Ava Tarsi, Vanessa Walker, Taylor Kick, Christina Williams, Ella Gapczynski, and Garnett Mullet will be the starters tonight for the Raiders. As Taylor Kick couldn't get it to go. Kick, one of the leaders in this team in the kills category. Timberwolves trying to extend their lead. But a nice send back by Taylor Kick on the far side. We'll tie back up at 2 apiece. On the Timberwolves side of things, Sierra LeBlanc, Callie Counselor, Lakin LeBaron, Sophie Kaluzlitsky, Chloe Winchell, and Gimme Keller we'll get things started for the Timberwolves. This Timberwolves team recruits all over the country. They've got players from northern Michigan, and we're going to get a timeout here as the officials, I think we're maybe just looking at something real quick, but they've got players from the Upper Peninsula, of course, all throughout northern Michigan, and it's a service ace for Christina Williams, the sophomore, as they take a point lead here in set 1. You got players from Canada, Montana, all over the place. But it has really helped them become one of the better JUCO teams here in the MJCAA. Or excuse me, the MCCAA. Good receive there by Mullet. Nice block. Did it go into the net? It did. An attack error on the near side for the Timberwolves. It's 4-2 GRCC. Raiders are are the best in a number of offensive categories in the MCCAA. And when you're talking about kills, I mean, this team, that is where they get a majority of their points from. They lead the conference in kill percentage, kills per set, and they work very nicely as a team as well, leading the conference in assists. Nice recovery there from the Timberwolves. And that's going to go left of the antenna as the Raiders maintain their 2-point lead. But this is a Raiders team that, of course, is coming off their best season in program history a year ago. 26-4 overall. 12-0 in conference play. That's a perfect 11-0 record here at home. They always play well here on this campus. And tonight, a little extra motivation with it being homecoming weekend. And a nice attack there from Chloe Winchell, the sophomore out of Freeland, Michigan. Brings her team within one here in set one, 5-4. On the right side of your screen, it's the Timberwolves. Left side, the Raiders, if you haven't figured that out by now. Uniforms, same color family, dark navy blue colors, yellow lettering for the Raiders, lighter blue with the white lettering for North Central. Serving now is JL Downs, that player out of Montana that we talked about. An attacking air, Raiders add on one another. But it's, some may argue, one of the best times of the year for sports. You've got volleyball, it's in full swing. Of course, now you're about halfway through the schedule or approaching the halfway mark. Of course, this weekend, the Raider Challenge. Raiders playing a number of games throughout this weekend. Nice job just to get that one over by Kranz. And Kranz couldn't recover the second time around. So NCMC hanging around here in set one, and this is kind of what I expect. I mean, I expect this one to be closely contested. The Timberwolves, in their 3 losses this year, they haven't gone to 5 sets. They've gone to 4 sets a couple of times and were swept once. But the only really top-ranked opponent that they have played so far, well, one of the better teams in the conference that they've played so far was MCC, and it was a 3-1 loss, and that came last Monday. Great dig there, but a whistle. And the point towards the Timberwolves, 7-6. But this will be a nice test for the Raiders as well. I mean, they've kind of played the same 2 or 3 teams over the last week or 2 weeks. So getting a different look at a different team for the first time here during that span, or at least since conference play has started. As the Raiders continue to maintain this 2 to 3 point lead. But they've played Delta twice in the last couple of weeks. Same with Montcalm CC, or they will here next Monday. Blocked it down. Vanessa Walker, usually seen or usually calling her name for her left-handed hits. That time the block, and it's a 3-point lead for the Raiders as Ava Tarsi serves. Kind of an awkward setup. Kick does a nice job to get it over as Mullet and Kick go back and forth to just get that across the net. CC Heising has done a great job. It's just kind of an overshot there by Vanessa Walker, but Heising did a great job of covering a lot of space in that area. And so Heising will get subbed out for Olivia Inthau. But before the start of this match here tonight, they introduce the, and nice effort there by Taylor Halfman. Just couldn't get it across, but they introduced some of the new championship banners here in the arena. They're all the sports that they've had throughout time. Of course, some of these sports non-existent anymore, like football. Football program shutting down in the late 2000s, rather. But a nice updated look fills the space here at the Gordon Hunsberger Arena here on the campus of GRCC. But it got the national championship banners in the middle with all their conference and district and regional championships banners on the side for every sport. It's a pretty nice look. Of course, this volleyball program won a national championship about 13 years ago and trying to replicate that here this year. So it's a 5-point lead for the Raiders as we are going into our first timeout here of set one. We'll take a break. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. Welcome back here in set one between GRCC and NCMC here on this Wednesday evening. Beautiful day outside here in downtown Grand Rapids. Game 11 of the year for the Raiders. Game 16 of the year for the Timberwolves. Of course, non-conference action varies depending on the team. Raiders had a little bit of a tougher non-conference play, but because of that, they played more, or they dove right into conference play what felt like earlier in the year. Heising back out there as the libero, and Vanessa Walker comes out of the timeout and will pick up the kill. The officials looking a little confused as to who they were going to award that to there momentarily. But nonetheless, it's a 6-point lead for the Raiders. Raiders have given up at least 20 points in just one set over their last 4 matches. As Vanessa Walker again and on the block, her second of the night. It's a touchdown lead now for the Raiders. But they haven't lost a set in 15 days. You know, it was kind of a fluky set loss too. They were playing Delta College, which is towards the bottom of the conference, or at least their division. And it was their first 2 sets were very clean, very dominating. They won set 1, 25-13, set 2, 25-12. And set 2, Delta came out and won 25-21 as Hafman picks up an ace as the Timberwolves try to pull back within a competitive range. And Williams will delay that momentarily. But in that Delta game, they ended up finishing things off with a 25-13 win. And it did not look like this Raiders team that we've seen all year. I mean, the way they're playing tonight is how they've played all year long. 15-10 here in set 1. GRCC on top over North Central. Tarsi will set it up, go cross court. That Nice received end there. And Keller picks up the kill. Had a great setup there. Pretty wide open shot for her as well. Annie Grew. Tarsi will set it up. And kick with the kill. Nice little cross-court action there. So Vanessa Walker will serve as the Raiders own a 5-point lead. Good setup there for the Timberwolves. A little shifty action couldn't go. Heising sets it up. Kick off the top of the hands, no good. As Timberwolves try to get shifty, kick will just have to sacrifice. Good setup for Keller. Keller's shot. The deflection out of bounds. And Keller with her second kill in a matter of points here for the Timberwolves, 16-12. Largest lead of set one has been 7 for the Raiders. Other than that, NCMC is pretty much hanging around. Hung around. Good setup, kick. Changing her approach there in the midair. A kick, third time's the charm. No, it isn't. We'll see if they set up kick again. They go reverse, and looked like some miscommunication there. Loth Schultz was the intended attacker there on the setup. Trying to dunk it down, no. Raiders have not been able to get a lot of points off of those weakly hit balls. And now they've seen their lead go from 7 all the way down to 2 as the Timberwolves on a nice little run. What came out of the Timberwolves timeout as a Raiders point, it has been nothing but Timberwolves since then. As Keller couldn't connect. Not a bad shot there by Keller. Keller, a decorated athlete in high school. Just as so many of these women are on this floor. A lot of All-State players on this North Central team as well. Another block attempt there. Here's Tarsi setting it up. Here's the reverse again. Can't connect this time around. And NCMC, they're giving the Raiders a run for their money. They're trying to dial in their accuracy. It just hasn't honed in quite yet. Taylor kick. Product out of North Point Christian on that serve. Tarsi will go cross court. Shots blocked. Nice recovery there by Kranz. Heising to Kranz. Kranz dug out. Trying to save it. Then they get it over, but they're going to call. It appears a penalty there on Keller. Not quite sure what that was, but we're going to get the second and final timeout called by the Timberwolves here in set one. It's 19-14 here as GRCC leads it. We'll take a timeout ourselves. You are watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. 19-14 here in set one. And the Raiders will come out of the NCMC timeout and will serve Taylor Kick, who has just been phenomenal all season long. Had 12 kills versus Alpena on Friday. And she dialed it in. They did not. Shannon Flippin not happy with that call as the Raiders lead expands to 6. Here's Keller. Shot is blocked. And they get it over. Nice save. But kind of looked like body language-wise. Looked like it was going to be given up. Heising over to Walker. Couldn't connect. Was Heising. Tarsi will set it up this time. And they dial it in. Lothschultz makes it a 7-point lead here in set one. And the Raiders are knocking on the door of a set one victory. And with the way the Timberwolves have played here in set one, this score does not reflect how they have played. And it's kind of a scary moment there for Annie Grew. Kind of landed on the ball awkwardly, but she appears to be okay. Largest lead of the night for GRCC. It's 8-point lead. They're looking to close them off. Not that time, though. Gracie Jones. Kimmy Keller. Tarsi with the setup. Kranz out of bounds. Back-to-back points now for the Timberwolves as they don't have much room left to try to come back in this set. Great dig there by Downs. And a bad set there for the Raiders, so another point for NCMC. Well, the Raiders, yes, this series is only 3 years old. Well, now 4 years old, but the Raiders have never lost a match to the Timberwolves. Nice little tap it in here by Lothschultz. 23-17 here in set one. But they've never lost, and they've never given up a set loss either to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves trying to do that here tonight. It's going to be tough, though. Nice block there on the left side. Kranz, too far. Kranz has a ton of power in her hits. If she can dial in that accuracy, it's going to be something to watch. And Point Raiders, the officials aren't really in sync right now. Now they're called point towards the Timberwolves. One said Raiders, the other said the Timberwolves. And the Raiders kind of slipping a little bit here, struggling to close it out. Is Chip Will going to use one of his 2 timeouts? He will. He'll have one remaining. 23-20 Timberwolves on a come from behind right now. 6-0 run. We'll take a timeout. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. Coming out of the Raiders timeout, 23-20, as they've seen that 8-point lead diminish down to just a 3-point lead as the Timberwolves trying to complete this comeback. Nice setup and a better kill. Tristan Loltschultz again. The freshman out of Coopersville, Michigan. Getting it done. Coopersville, one of the top teams in West Michigan. Couple of Coopersville players in this lineup for the Raiders. Just a great volleyball city, a great volleyball state nonetheless. And can't reach it. Was Ella Thayer. Still set point for the Raiders. And now serving with no room for error, Sierra LeBlanc. Decent serve by LeBlanc. She receives, and it's a set error there for the Timberwolves, and that's how set one will end. Raiders taking care of business 25-21. And they'll take a 3-minute timeout here as they gear up for set two. Raiders lead it 1-0 after a 25-21 set one victory. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. Welcome back here on the GRCC Sports Network. Beginning of set two we go. Raiders taking care of business 25-21 there in set one as they take on North Central Michigan College here. And game number 6 of this conference play. 6-game winning streak here for the Raiders. And the Raiders trying to make it 7 in a row and a 9-2 record here as they enter today's match ranked 15th in the country. Jackson Hayden back with you Pleasure to bring you GRCC Volleyball all season long. Raiders with a busy, busy schedule coming up here this weekend. This is the only weekday matchup they've got, but otherwise they've got 4 games spanning across 2 days here over Saturday and Sunday. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, before going on the road for 3 games and then back home for 3. And then, before you know it, postseason play will be here. We are a month out from the beginning of conference play already, or conference tournament play already. Pretty crazy. Vanessa Walker says, how do you do? Here in the beginning of set 2. 1-0. That'll wake you up if you weren't awakened already. Now Olivia Inthau, a freshman out of South Christian, serves. And the nice response by Counselor. The Canadian dialing in the accuracy. It's 1-1. And into the net. There by Taylor Kick. She's pretty accurate, or not accurate, but pretty consistent with her attacks. As Garnett Mullet picks up a kill there, but pretty consistent with her attacks. Leads the team in attacking percentage. You can always count on her, so when you see it going to the net, it is a rarity for her. We're going to get a whistle. Not quite sure what it was on. They're going to say it was on Taylor Kick. Not quite sure what went wrong there. I didn't see anybody touch the net. I didn't see anybody hit it weird. There's been a couple of those over the last couple of points going back into set 1. So 3-2 lead now for the Timberwolves. As Annie Grew, the left-hander, serves. Kind of an awkward setup there by Mullet. Here's Keller. And out of bounds. Kick on the serve. Kind of a lower looper hit there. And off the top of the antenna. So back and forth we go here in set 2. Raiders with a 1-0 lead. Trying to make it 2-0. They've never lost a set to this Timberwolves squad throughout their 6-match history. First match happened back in September of 2022. But historically speaking, the Timberwolves have only scored 20-plus points in a set 3 times. Their 3rd time was in set 1. Raiders have been playing very off balance here to open up set 2. Trying to get back in sync with each other. Nice job to slow it down there on the far side. Great hit by Kranz. And Kranz got in the way of Heising there, who is ready for the receive. And it's a 3-point lead now for the Timberwolves. And a service ace, kind of a weird bounce there. Very rarely do you ever see it hit the top of the net and it bounce back. It usually trickles over. So the Raiders looking to put on a little bit of a rally themselves. And an attacking error there on the Timberwolves. So the Raiders, another point, and it'll officially be a 3-0 run. Off the top of the hands. Well, Schultz, not really anywhere to go. Why not just bury it in the blocker's hands? It's tied up at 6 apiece now. Jersey Vanderwall checks in for the first time tonight as she gets it over. Keller finding a nice spot, but appears to be an error on the Timberwolves side of things, and it's a 4-0 run now for GRCC. And an awkward set up there from the opposing Hafman as this run continues here for the Raiders. 5-0 now. Vanderwall again. It's been great. Kranz again. 9-6. Well, this is why you got to try to build as big of a lead as you can against this Raiders squad, because they're going to, you blink and they've got a 3-point lead. Once up 3. And into the net. It's a 7-0 run for the Raiders. 10-6 here in set 2. Vanderwall again. She's been phenomenal at guiding this offense. See if Kranz from downtown off the antenna, so that'll snap the run momentarily. Kind of began with the awkward receive there from Taylor Kick. The Raiders really played in unison during that run. Obviously, the run can continue. Ooh. Very twitchy attack there by Williams. 8-1 run now. 11-7 lead here in set 2. And we're going to get a timeout by North Central. So we will take one ourselves as well. So 8-1 run for the Raiders. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. Welcome back here on the GRCC Sports Network. 11-7 here in set 2. Raiders on a commanding 8-1 run. And looking to continue this run out of the NCMC timeout is Taylor Kick. And did she get a hand on it? She did. It's an ace. Correction, it's Los Schultz. I got the numbers mixed up. 5-point lead now for the Raiders. Once down 3, up 5 now. 9-1 run. And make it almost back-to-back aces. It's a pretty good pin, though. I tell you what. The serving for the Raiders during this run has been impeccable and has really been a big reason to their success. Serving now, Lake and LeBaron. (12-9). Here at set 2. Here on this homecoming week here on the campus of Grand Rapids Community College. Good setup, blocked, and the receive again, and it's good. Third time's the charm. Christina Williams that time. Make it 13-9 here in set 2. Blocked it down. A double team block of Williams and Walker. Back at it again, 14-9. And North Central has had troubles of staying consistent against this Raiders team today. And she dials it in. Great accuracy as they try to get to their largest or tie their largest lead. And second and final timeout burned by the Timberwolves. It's a 6-point lead for the Raiders. Their second longest of the night, or third longest of the night, correction. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. (15-9) here in set 2. The Raiders are on top coming out of the second and final timeout called by Shannon Flippin, the head coach of the Timberwolves. And a little me at the line. Trying to help the hit. North Central a little off balance right now. Raiders attacked, and it's good. Taylor kick. The reigning Division II All-American from a year ago, showing just why. As it's a 7-point lead. Tied their second longest of the night. And trying to make it tied their longest. And another kill. Rack it up for Christina Williams. 17-9. Tied their longest lead of the night. And now, can they finish it off? This is right around where North Central started to poke their way back into the set. And it's a 9-point lead, their largest of the night. And remember, no timeouts for North Central. Remaining here in set 2. They burned both of them pretty early, of course, trying to get anything to swing the momentum back to the other way. Great serve. Really threw any chances of a decent setup there for the Timberwolves. And just added to the tally, 19-9. Raiders squad, one of the best in the entire country, the best in the state. And you're seeing exactly why tonight. And they're not going to, no deflection there. It's an 11-point lead. continuing their largest lead of the night, has not given their offense a chance to succeed, as it just floats a little too far. Ella Thayer that time. So just go waiting, I believe, an official ruling, or I think maybe they're looking at something. I see if maybe something will get overturned. 20-10 as it stands right now was 21-10. So 20-10, here's the serve. That was a great serve that time. Blocked it out of bounds. The Raiders, they started out this set felt like timid and not playing in unison. And, well, right now they are playing very relaxed. And very mistake-free. Good setup and a better kill by Taylor Kick. 22-10 here in set two, and the vibes are high there on that Raiders bench. A lot of smiles right now as they try to finish off a come from behind set two victory, and it continues 23-10. Now the deficit wasn't large. It was only 3, but it was the largest deficit the Raiders have faced all night. And another awkward setup there by the libero, Hafman. Tarsi with the setup, running into the net that time. A little lob point there for the Timberwolves. Who says you need to use power every time? Ooh, kind of an awkward setup. Glad it was Vanessa Walker. You could kind of hear the ooze from the bench. That could have been bad. But it's set point 24-11. Raiders, it's been all GRCC here in set two. Looking to finish it off strong. Blocked. And Timberwolves just get it over. Good team effort. Kick. No. Kick will just have to get it over. Is this going to do the job? It will not. Backwards, reverse, and a nice block. Nice solo block there on the far side. Chloe Winchell doing it by herself. Still a 12-point lead, still set point 2 for the Raiders. And a nice direction hit there for Loschultz. So, Raiders dominating here in set two by a score 25-12. And we are headed to set three. Raiders looking to sweep the Timberwolves. When we come back, you are watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. On to set 3 here on the GRCC Sports Network. Raiders with a 2-0 set lead here over the North Central Michigan College Timberwolves. Jackson Hayden back along with you here as the Raiders are looking to go for yet another sweep here during the 6-game winning streak. Is something that they have gotten very accustomed to doing. They have swept 4 games in a row. The last time they dropped a set was back on September 15th against Delta College. So looking to continue that trend here tonight. But also another trend they're looking to do is win their 7th straight match here against North Central. Only 6 matches played all time. Of course, North Central, their volleyball program, still quite young. Only 3 years old, or 3 years young, rather. But the Raiders trying to continue how hot they were there in set 1 as the Timberwolves will come out with the first point. And I'll tell you what, the Timberwolves fans have traveled. I mean, I know there's some local players here from around this area, but it's a pretty strong showing for the Timberwolves fans here tonight. And that one going all the way back to the divider. And we'll get tied up at 1. Well, the Timberwolves had a 3-point lead. It was 6-3 at one point. And the Raiders just went on a huge run. They only allowed 5 more points after that point in the set to the Timberwolves. So it's 2-1. And a slam dunk 3-1. This is pretty much what it's been for the Raiders. And I mean, this is not a bad North Central team by any means. They're ranked 3rd in the Northern standings. 3-1 entering play today. 11-4 overall. That is a pretty standout record. As the Raiders are coming out swinging here in set 3. But, I mean, they are well above the Bay College, who's in 4th. Bay College sitting at 500, 7-7 overall, 2-3 in conference play. Great dig there by Intout. Nice job to reset. The block shot, and Intout couldn't recover it. It's 4-2 here in set 3. But this North Central Michigan team, they have been obviously starting from scratch. This is a squad that began in 2021. Their first official season was in 2022. They went 1-16. They only won 1 conference game. 2023, they went 10-20, so a 9-win improvement. Had a winning home record. Last year was their first ever winning season at 20-8. And was swept, or lost their first 2 games in postseason play. Nice job to give the Timberwolves a second chance. Raiders doing a nice job of really separating that Timberwolves defense, and it continues as it's 6-2 here in set 3. We've usually seen the Timberwolves kind of hang tightly with the Raiders early in sets, but so far in set 3, it has been all GRCC. Walker, reverse setup to kick, and the deflection is off. 7-2. Walker continues as she goes a little teardropper there. Did she get it in? Oh. It looked like it had pinned down in that corner. But, of course, that ball was hit right near the feet of one of the officials. I think they just assessed a yellow card. Didn't see who it was on. I'm sure we're awaiting the call here. No official calling yet. I did see a yellow card come out of the pocket, though. Haven't seen that in a volleyball match in a long time. 8-3 now. And a bad setup there by Kick. And down, 9-4. The scoreboard button for the Raiders has definitely been getting its use in here over the last couple of sets. It is very busy. So here is Jersey Vanderwall. She played a big role in and it looks like, oh, that's what it is. There's some student photographers there on the sideline, and I believe the officials are wanting them off the floor. And I think it was because the photographer was sitting on the bench. I think that's what their issue is. But, I mean, if they're getting the okay, if they're part of the team, they're not, benefiting the team in any sort of way, it shouldn't matter. Ten to 6, Timberwolves trying to close back in now. They're going to call an intentional error, or otherwise would have been a service error. They're on the Timberwolves. And an ace. A lot of momentum on the Timberwolves side right now, and I think just some things have kind of fallen their way. It's a 2-point lead now for the Raiders. They've seen their lead just crumble right now, but kind of a weird couple of points. Not quite sure what has all been happening. But the Raiders, Slothjolts serving now. As the Raiders try to grow that lead back over. Walker, right place, right time. Heising will get it over. Blocked. Raiders looking for a good setup here. Vanessa Walker will do just that. Twelve to 8. That looked good from up here, but they're going to say it was too far. 12-9. Winchell and LeBlanc will tag in for the Timberwolves now. Timberwolves trying to get some luck to go their way here in set 3. Nice dig out. And the nice block there by Kranz on the far side. 13-9. Ella Thayer serving now for the Raiders. One of the best servers on this team in terms of aces. Tarsi with a nice setup. Tarsi goes cross court. And the deflection will go out of bounds. 14-9. And we'll get a timeout by North Central. 14-9 here in set 3. We'll take one ourselves. You're watching the GRCC Sports Network. Serve. 14-9 here in set 3. And off the top of the net. And a bad set there for LeBlanc. And this Timberwolves team continuing to struggle against some of the top opponents here in the North this season. Of course, we already mentioned they lost to Muskegon Community College about a week ago. Probably could have let that one fly. The Raiders getting a break there. Another block. And this time it'll go down for a point. But North Central, again, they played Muskegon pretty tightly there in their first 2 sets, but it was their closing out sets that they really struggled in. And it's almost been reversed that here tonight. — 17-11 here in set 3. Cross-court setup, nice block there to save it, but nobody, there's bad communication there on the Raiders' end. as they try to close out. Again, they closed out pretty well during that last set, but in set one, they struggled to close it out against the Timberwolves, leading to the Timberwolves to make it a little interesting. And they dial it in there, 18-12. It looked good off the hands, just got a little too much air under it.
Number 2 Downs checking into the game to replace Mitchell, number 17. And number 18, Priest, replacing number 6, LeBlanc. Downs serving.
The Raiders have had a couple of bad sets here. 18-14. The Timberwolves are closing in. Locked, and Timberwolves are closing in, and maybe we'll use one of the timeouts Chipwell has in his back pocket. And again, they've had a few that have been really close. Nothing has really been going the Raiders' way here in set three. And they've had some pretty big leads throughout set three. And Kick says, hey, it's all right, we'll do it ourselves. 19-16. And an ace. Little knuckler from Kick. And their lead grows to 4. And a couple of deflections. And it's a 5-point lead for GRCC. And an error from Kick. Looked like she tried to do a similar serve as she did to the ace a few moments ago. Cross court set up. And a good eye there from the Raiders, 22-17 here in set three. And they're going to an error there on the Raiders side of the ball. 22-18 here in set three. Raiders looking for their 7th straight sweep against the Timberwolves. Good save. And Chip Will getting frustrated with these officials, it appears. I think maybe wanting some sort of net infraction. There's been a lot of funky calls. They're going against this Raiders squad. And the Raiders have really had to fight for this set. Lead anyway. (23-19), 2 away from their 5th straight sweep victory. Tarsi set up, Kranz, deflection, good! 24-20, and it's match point, Raiders. Raiders looking for another sweep in a variety of different ways. And we're going to get our first time out called by the Timberwolves. It's 24-20 here in set 3. We'll take a timeout. You're watching GRCC Women's Volleyball here on the GRCC Sports Network. Raiders trying to finish it off. Match point them. Timberwolves trying to stay alive. They need a massive rally. The block is down, and the Raiders finish off the sweep over the North Central Michigan Timberwolves here on this Wednesday night. 25-20 here in set 3, and it was a dominating victory for the Raiders here tonight. For everybody on the production crew, I'm Jackson Hyden, and until Saturday morning, so long, everybody.